Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, today we've got a map which offers something a little bit different from most of the maps we've been reviewing lately. But before we do that, I need to turn back the clock almost a week to Tuesday last week and What Map 861, where we reviewed a map called Alexandria DLC by Stiga. Now, I used the wrong theme in the review and I promised I would put things right in today's show. On the left hand side you have the vanilla temperate theme, which is as seen in the review, and on the right hand side the correct Laviante theme with the Laviante LUT as well, which is how it should have looked. Now, I did, in my defense, I did select the right theme, which you can check out at the start of the show. In fact, at the start of every show, we have the info box on the resources page. I'll point it out when we get there, which shows you the custom theme if there is one. And I did actually choose the correct theme. Why it didn't load in, I don't know, but having selected it is not something I then look for later on. I did think maybe, actually, it might have been Theme Mixer 2, loading up the theme from the previous map review, but the previous map review to this one was the Seychelles theme, so it wasn't that either. I honestly have no idea. I apologise to Stiga for that. Having looked at that and looked at the ratings, I gave it 4 stars for aesthetics. I don't think I would have pushed it up to a 5th star. So it didn't actually affect the overall rating, but of course it did affect the overall visuals. And for that, I apologise. I get things wrong every now and then, and when I do, I try and put things right. So Alexandria DLC, check it out in What's Map 861, and that's by Stiga. Now on to today's map. It's really very nice. It's not perfect, but it offers a gameplay experience that we very, very rarely see on this show. And that is a really naturalistic, kind of broken up waterways kind of map, but not the perfectly flat terrain that we're totally used to in this sort of map. We have real natural curves in the land, which is going to bring a realistic looking city. There's 1 or 2 things I don't like about it, and 1 or 2 things that are going to need changing, I think, if you want to do the perfect city. I mean, absolutely, inverted commas, perfect city. But this is definitely worth considering. It's a very nice one indeed. Now, speaking of very nice things indeed, do you like my show? If you do, and you've been here several times, perhaps today's the day you should possibly react to my daily reminder because, well, it's there for a reason. That's right, hitting that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Now let's crack on. We've spent too long talking about other things and we need to talk about Maxanyatun, Valley of the Giants by Velopdomynous. Velopdomynous, no stranger to the show, we have seen them in the past. This one I think is my favourite of theirs of all time. There's your start square, plenty of landmass broken up by water. And then you've got your terrain heights where we've got all the hills at this end, but it is an undulating map, but gentle. Your resources are very usable indeed. I like these. And then if we go off to the workshop, by the way, resources box there, yeah, custom theme, see that. And anyway, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, there is a one-click collection and a little bit of reading. Always nice to do a little bit of the reading. I'll leave you to do the reading in your own time. Even an outtake of a proverb there. I mean, come on. They have gone the extra mile. There is a one-click collection going the extra mile, of course. All the trees and stuff that you need. We'll be using the regular temperate theme and the realistic 1.2 LUT. But of course, a lot of these trees, if you don't want them, like the reeds, if you don't want them, don't subscribe. It's still going to be a really lovely canvas to build a city on. Now, there's so much about this to like. I'm going to say that I really like the network layout. It's in that Mr. Miyagi kind of vibe where we have all the traffic being steered away from the start square. So we've got a lot of traffic on the go, but nothing that's going to go through your city apart from what needs to go to the city. We also have some, I'm going to say, clunky networking. Like this bridge, I mean, there's nothing particularly wrong with the bridge. This first span, I mean, we're elevated, and I do like the way that we're elevated, and then we go suspension over the water. But it seems a little bit too squashed together, that suspension section. For me, anyway. This next section is really nice. It's really long. It's in the, what I'm going to call the mega bridge category, which is like slightly fantastical, I imagine that. But then we have intersections as well, which just feel a little bit clunky and just a lack of top level polish on these ones. If we have a look at this one, it's a little bit low, and if we check for clipping street lamps, I think we're okay on this one. But it's just, it looks awkward, and yeah, just a little bit awkward. Admittedly, we are going vanilla roads here, and also that bridge looks a little bit elevated on one side and down on the other. Yeah, completely vanilla with the roads, no DLC and no network extensions too. So we are 3 lanes and 1 lane, and there's your options. And some of the intersections do look like they struggle a bit because of it. I'm not going to mark it down because of that, because we have seen really well done intersections. But the whole thing just feels a little bit awkward, like 3 lanes there going into the 2. That's fine, but it just doesn't seem to merge really smoothly. It can be done. One thing I do like, you'll see this a bit on the left here, we've got an elevated road. On the right, we've got the ground-based road, and that really works quite well. I'm not entirely sure the theme works as well as it could do for this map. Switching the theme, of course, is really easy. Another bit here with the elevated on the left and the ground-based on the right, and it is done. That bit, I really like that bit there. Heading out through the hills here, and the terrain is a real winner for me. Now, you won't be doing much building out in this part of the map. This is just basically carrying the network, the traffic around the map. Where we will be building, or where you will be building, because I think you might take this map, is in the main beef of the map, and the main beef of the map is very nice. Now we come down here, this bridge here, this is the main bridge, main intersection. Look, it's a very low on the left hand side. We've got the street lights clipping into the bridge and clipping through the bridge, if I can find. There we go. There's one over here. Not actually in the highway, so it's not an absolute breaker for me, but it is a visual. Okay. All told, though, very nice. Now, this is the road with tunnels that takes you down to the start square. The tunnels are very nicely done, and the prop tunnel entrances are a bonus as well. And again, they've been very nicely done as well. Can't fault those. Then we're going down into a peninsula within the river network, which is where the start square be. Not a huge amount of build plane immediately on the peninsula, but just some little bridges to get you across onto the other bits, and you can really start branching out. But before we do any branching out, we've got to have a look at this. And it's the asset of the day. Now, this one's a little bit different. You might recognize it. It's actually a vanilla building that has been retextured and redetailed by Clus. It's commercial building 01. It's their favourite vanilla commercial. It might be my favourite vanilla commercial building as well. They've taken King Leno's lead, where they've retextured and basically beefed up one of the campus buildings. Well, they've done the same here, and I think it's a really nicely done job. Anyway, before we go any further, we'll do factoids, because factoids. And on this day, February the 24th, in 1500, that's a little while ago, I think, Charles V, one of the greatest in an illustrious line of Holy Roman emperors, was born. He was a man with many talents and was particularly gifted linguist. He is credited with the following statement: "I speak Spanish to God, Italian to women, French to men, and German to my horse." No English. Never mind. Anyway, Commercial Building 01 by Clus. That is today's asset of the day. And those of you that watch the show regularly will know that I too am a cunning linguist. Or something like that. Mind your language in the comments. Thank you very much. Spanish will be fine. Google Translate will do the job for me. Okay, back down to ground, and we'll follow the road off and over. I really looked at my favourite bridge on the map, I think. Very nice bridge. Not even going to stop to look at it. It's fine. And then the roads are good and strong, and then they'll get a bit clunky again when we get out towards the edge. Now, hopefully this week we'll be upgrading to my new PC, so hopefully this tree pop-in will no longer be an issue, and we'll have an even more glorious visual treat as things go on. In fact, I was going to be using the new PC for today's map review, but it got held up. The dispatch date got put back 2 days. And so, where normally I would be cracking on with this, I just had to start recording early, because otherwise there might not be what's map. Anyway, very clunky looking intersection here, not very pretty at all, but we are off in the fog. Nobody's going to see it using vanilla rules. Now the rail, you probably guessed, is going to be a little bit uppy-downy, especially by this bit. It's probably, well, one of the worst bits on the map. In fact, one of my favourite parts on the map is we're going to see a rail junction coming up. And I really like the junction, but it, once again, suspending disbelief with the gradients on the rails. You'll see, we'll get there shortly. And then we'll do an intermission, and then we'll do other stuff. Yeah, the usual stuff. We'll do all that. Anyway, the rail nips through a tunnel over here. Emerges over here. I'm quite happy with all of that. So yes, if you're the usual thing, if you've come from Transport Fever and you want realism, you're not gonna like it. If you are happy with the standard physics within the Cities Skylines games, and you can just like suspend a bit of disbelief, you'll be okay with all of this, and that's fine. It's just yeah, the realism effect. Of course, fixing it, it's not a big deal if you're using mods. A little bit of Move It or Electric's road tools just to sort out the slopes. That won't take very long at all. If you're playing vanilla rules, then it's going to cost you a bit of money to fix, and you won't be able to fix the bits that are outside of the start square and all that jobs. Anyway, this is the junction. I really like this, but you're going to see from the gradients in a minute, it is beyond suspension of disbelief for me. More roller coaster, nipping down and under and back out the other side. And the more accomplished, higher tier creator would have done a better job of that, but we're not all. And I put my hand in. Yeah, I'm not one of those. I'd like to think that I might have done a better job of this junction, but to be honest, I don't think I would have even taken this. I wouldn't even thought of doing that junction. So yeah, we're all different. We're all we're all individuals. And Velopdomynous has, I want to say, there are things I like this wall. We'll see a lot of this where we've got castles dotted around on the map with these walls around the map. Loving those ideas. Some really nice ideas. Really great terrain work. Really enjoying this map. Just a little bit clunky with the networking. Fortunately, we're going to stop looking at networking now. We'll take an intermission. We'll come back with the shipping.
Do you have trouble building on steep hills? Do your buildings continually glitch into or out of the ground? Then you need the Beginner's Guide to Building on Steep Hills by BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And so back to Maxanyatun, Valley of the Giants by Velopdomynous. Again, highly recommend reading the description of this map. It's well written, and I just don't want to spoil things too much. You know, when somebody goes to the effort of writing, I pick out anything that's essential. And to be honest with you, I think the map sells itself. The description is great. So yeah, take a couple of moments, especially if you want to do this map. Don't just rely on this review. Have a read. Reading is good. Good reading. This bit of shipping route here, I think I'd rather that had gone through that widest point right there. That's just a personal thing. I think the rest of it is okay. I don't think there's any clipping or anything going on down there. It does get a bit close to the pillars, but it's okay. Water flow. This is the river that goes down past the start square. You can see we have water flow, and with a network of rivers like this would have been a challenge. And I think Velopdomynous needs a real pat on the back for this one, because getting a map with good water flow and it's smooth, we don't have any stop-start, we don't have any gloopiness. This is a very nice map for water flow. Full credit. I mean, look at all the water. How hard is that? I mean, admittedly, there are areas of lower water flow and possibly some still water, but where you need it, you have options. You can actually deal with your sewage outflow. Just loving the design, loving well, it's quite intricate. It's, considering everything, it's quite intricate. Now, it's not the flattest. It is quite flat. When we go down to the start square there, that is relatively flat. There's just some smooth gradients going on there. You can't really make them out, but it's a very buildable area. And it just kind of feels almost of that the early vanilla maps again, where the slopes were buildable, but just a little bit awkward to get that perfect realism. As I said before, loving the castles. I'm loving the rock work with that castle as well. I think that really does add a little bit to. Very seldom you see those vanilla flat rocks used very well. It's been months since I've been able to say that, and they were used very well indeed there. That ridge going across the middle of the map just breaks things up, along with all the waterways. Means you're going to be pushed away from the grid city. And the amount of options to actually challenging yourself with this map, maybe doing a few small towns and villages, or going for the big city, even just a little island in this lake here. It would have been easy just to have not put anything in there at all. And again, I don't know if I would or I wouldn't. It's just, everything seems right. There's nothing about this map where you look and say, that seems out of place. Apart from, of course, just the clunkiness of the networking. So I'm just sold. I really do like this one. But what do you think, though? What do you think? Is this a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. And I'd like to think it will be. I really do want this to be up there. But I can see it being pushed out on just that. Down to taste, isn't it? It's down to taste. I like it. You might not. Don't know. Aesthetically, I like the design of this. I'm not sold on the theme. It's not a bad theme, but I think there were better themes it could have been. But there's nothing wrong with it. I like it a lot. I think it could be more so, but it's still very good. I'm giving it 4 stars. Detailing's pretty good, but not great. And there's plenty of things that you're going to want to fix, I think, if you're a perfectionist. I'm going to give it a 3 stars. It's not hideous. There's nothing too bad. Just a little bit of streetlight clipping. That's it, really. Gameplay potential. There are so many ways of taking on this map. I was so close to giving it 5 stars, but I think there's just too much network fixing that would need doing. And that would take away from the actual building of the city. Although fixing the networks is still gameplay, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Because it is, I mean, it's still gameplay. It's just not the gameplay that I want to be doing. What I do want to do, though, is to slap the BonBonB seal of approval on it. I really like it. I really, really like it. And full credit. Actually trying something challenging and getting the water flow. The water, I mean, come on. How hard is water flow? Well, to a genius like you, good sir, good madam, you probably could do it without even trying, but it's tough for most mortals. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking and for subscribing. Join me tonight over on BonBonB 2 for Project Cars 2 for a little bit of Project Cars racing. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.